Hello, Rare Elvis Photos, formerly Elvis 2022 channel. I'm going to bring you a series of some great photographs here. And while they are rolling by so you can enjoy them from mostly from Elvis's early days, I'm going to read you a little bit from Last Train to Memphis by Peter Guralnick, Guralnick. This is from page 109. So Friday, July 30th was hot and sticky. Dixie and Elvis must have spoken to each other at least a half a dozen times during the day. Although he never liked to talk about it, she knew how nervous he must be, and driving up Poplar, as they approached the park, she noticed that his fingers drummed an even steadier tattoo than usual on that metal dashboard. And that's interesting, the metal dashboard. I had a lot of older cars when I was younger. My first 30 cars were all 69 and under, Dodge Darts, all that stuff. And I remember some of my cars having metal dashboards. All right, let's go back to it. So Mr. and Mrs. Presley were there. They came with a bunch of other relatives. Some of the boys and girls Dixie knew from church, the ones you would see at the roller rink, and some of their other friends were present too. But mostly it was an unaffiliated mass who were there to see not Elvis Presley, but Slim Wetman, the handsome mustachioed star, or Billy Walker, the tall Texan, who had just had his first big hit with Thank You for Calling. These were hillbilly singers. This was a hillbilly crowd, and Dixie was scared to death, not for herself, but for how Elvis would feel if they just sat there and went, huh? What if they made fun of him? What if this was the end of his dream? Sam Phillips was late getting to the show. I had to park a long ways away, and when I got there, he was standing on the steps at the back of the shell looking pitiful. Well, maybe pitiful is the wrong word. I knew it was the way he was going to look, which was unsure. And he just grabbed me and said, man, I'm glad to see you, Mr. Phillips. That was just the way Elvis did. I just didn't know what I was going to do. It's like when somebody's mother is real sick, and you tell them everything's going to be all right, and yet there's the possibility that his mother might die. I said, look, Elvis, we'll find out whether they like you or not. And then I said, they're going to love you. Now, I didn't know that, and if you want to call me a liar or a fake for saying something that I didn't know to be the truth, but I believe that once he started singing and they saw him, I don't mean the stage act, once they heard the voice and the beautiful simplicity of what those three musicians were putting down, you see, Elvis had confidence in me. He saw that when I walked up, I always had some kind of assured look, and yet he knew I wasn't going to throw him to the lions either. So I gave him my best clubhouse pitch, not too many curves, because I knew even if he struck out 4 times and left 3 people on base each time, after the ball game was over, that could be overcome too. So when Elvis went on stage, Scotty said his knees were knocking so loud you could almost hear him. Bob Neal made the introduction, and then the 3 musicians, none of whom had ever appeared in a setting even remotely resembling this one, were on their own. The singer fiddled with the mic, twisting it so hard his knuckles turned white. And when he struck the opening chord of That's All Right, well, that's all right, Mom. You could hear that. You could hear it now. I could just hear it just by him saying that. Scotty and Bill fell in loosely behind him, and he raised up on the balls of his feet, leaning forward into the mic. His lip twisted involuntarily into a kind of a sneer as his legs began to quiver. I was scared stiff, he explained afterwards. It was my first big appearance in front of the audience, and I came out and I was doing my first number, and everybody was hollering, and I didn't know what they were hollering at. So we were all scared to death, said Scotty. Here we come with 2 little funky instruments and a whole park full of people. And Elvis, instead of just standing flat-footed and tapping his foot, well, he was kind of jiggling. That was just his way of tapping his foot. Plus, I think with all those old loose breeches that he wore, they weren't pegged or nothing like that. They had lots of material and pleated fronts. If you shook your leg, and it made it look like all hell was going underneath there. During the instrumental parts, he would back off from the mic and be playing and shaking, and the crowd would just go wild, but he thought they were actually making fun of him. That's interesting. And I could see how he might think that, because he wasn't very popular in high school, and got picked on here and there, so I'm sure he didn't think that any of the guys liked him. Now back to the book. He sang his second song, Blue Moon of Kentucky. Well, I said blue moon of Kentucky just to keep on shining. Love that version, which pretty much exhausted the group's repertoire at that point. So a couple songs? Okay. And the crowd went even wilder. Bill clowned and rode his bass, gave Evermore a confident whoop in the background, and his instrument a double lick. It was a really wild sound, like a jungle drum or something, Elvis recalled with some wonder. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want me to read some more of this book, let me know in the comments. There'll be more videos. I'm going to get back onto getting a lot of this content out to you. I hope you enjoyed the photos as well. There's some beautiful pictures of Elvis, some striking pictures of some of the younger ladies he was with, and some fans there at Graceland. So TCB TLC, until next time, please check the description out, and please like my son's YouTube channel. He's 8, and there's a link in the description.